June 12th, 2020. Commercial real estate presses on. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Coronavirus in Commercial Real Estate. I'm your host, George Morales of Blue Box Real Estate. We're a commercial real estate firm in South Florida. We specialize in representing landlords and tenants, office landlords, office tenants, and investors looking to purchase or sell commercial real estate. Contact us at info@blueboxre.com. Well, this video cast and also our podcast through the don'tsignthelease.com website are reflections of what we believe we should be about as Blue Box Real Estate, and that is we exist to honor God and serve our fellow man by performing commercial real estate services, and we want to empower business owners, property owners to make the best informed decision regarding their commercial real estate. We're going to jump right into the news cycle of commercial real estate, and incidentally, going forward, maybe next time or the one after that, we're going to transition these video casts and these podcasts to more of commercial real estate. We're going to start dropping COVID-19 off, coronavirus off, because I believe things are starting to open, and God willing, we'll start to get back to a new normal, whatever that looks like. But the less we talk about coronavirus and cover it, I think the quicker we can transition back to the workplace and back to a normal situations. And unfortunately, some of the news cycle that we're going to take a look at, we're still feeling the impact, but less the physical impact of a virus, more of the long-term impact of the economic crisis that pursued because of the lockdowns. Let's jump right into the first article, and it's continuing layoffs. Now listen, we've had trillions and trillions of dollars. We have the Fed's printing more and more money. I believe I saw a stat somewhere in the last 3 months they printed more money than maybe the last 100 years. I mean, some ridiculous lopsided stat. We've pumped trillions of dollars into the economy, and yet the job losses continue to mount. Despite what you heard about the May jobs report, we're over 42 million jobs lost so far. And here we have from CoStar News, Stitch Fix lays off 1,400 employees with plans to rehire in lower cost markets. Now, one of the stories that we've covered in the past had to do with not only working from home, but remote working. And remote working enables companies in Silicon Valley to pay that engineer or that worker that, let's say the average salary would be $200,000 or $150,000 in that market. Well, now you can find someone in South Florida or Canada or somewhere else throughout the country for half that price performing the same work. So transitioning to a work from home opens up remote working and lower cost hiring. And Stitch Fix is pretty open. The San Francisco-based online clothing service involves 20% of their staff. And here's what the article continues. Digital styling service Stitch Fix plans to lay off almost 20% of its California workforce, with plans to rehire the positions in lower cost markets, a decision that could affect its real estate footprint in the nation's tech capital. It all boils down to commercial real estate, because as long as you're doing commerce, you need a place to do that commerce, and that's where commercial real estate fits in. Well, listen, Stitch Fix has a headquarters in San Francisco of 98,000 feet. 95,208 square feet. Check that. Their lease runs through November 2022, according to CoStar. Are they going to keep the 95,000 or are they going to downsize? They also occupy over 3.2 million square feet across the country in offices and industrial space. So transitioning to more remote and more work from home and laying off 1,400 folks is certainly not great signs for commercial real estate. The next one, we have another massive deal, maybe the largest. We've been covering large deals that have been corona'd, and this one is Simon. And in fact, in February, we discussed Simon and Tabmon were going to merge, these two massive groups, Simon being a REIT. Well, Simon pulls the plug on $3.6 billion Tabmon mall purchase. Now, I know some predict that this might come back in 6 to 12 months, maybe be renegotiated. But right now, Simon Property Group, this comes to us from CoStar. Thank you, CoStar. Simon Property Group is pulling the plug on its $3.6 billion agreement to buy Tabman Centers, the second major retail deal to collapse after the pandemic cut sales across the industry. Arguing, now this is Simon's side of the story, arguing that Tabmon did not take steps to mitigate the impact. Simon, the largest U.S. shopping center and mall owner, said it had contractual right to abort the deal reached in February, only days before the coronavirus was declared a worldwide pandemic. Okay, Tabmon vowed to vigorously fight back, setting up what could become a legal base on similar suits tied to the devastating financial effects that are unfolding as the pandemic crisis appears to slow down. Simon's efforts are, quote, invalid and without merit, Tabon said in a statement, noting that Simon, quote, continues to be bound to the transaction in all respects. My goodness, $3.6 billion being argued over. And we'll see how that plays out. Something tells me we'll be covering that in a future video cast. Now, so kind of transitioning to more positive news, the next few articles, as lockdowns ease, here's how companies are reopening. This comes to us from LinkedIn News, Jessica Hardog's the editor. And so she's did a wonderful job, LinkedIn did, covering exactly how businesses are planning to transition into their opening from all kinds of sectors and industries. And entertainment, Walt Disney World planning a phased reopening of Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom on July 11th, Epcot and Hollywood Studios by July 15th. So we'll take a look. Finance groups. Goldman Sachs will be running a hybrid business model of people working from home and the offices around the world for quite some time. Per the Financial Times, JP Morgan Chase expects to keep its offices half full for most of the near future. Credit Suisse, four-phase plan for returning to the office, with many continuing to work from the home in the first weeks and months, according to a staff memo. Citigroup will have some staff work from retail branches and satellite offices rather than its main offices in London and New York. They expect to accommodate more flexible arrangements, such as working 2 days from home, the office, from the office, and 3 days remotely. So this is a trend that we're starting to see, and the more real estate folks I talk to, this is what we're seeing is there's going to be a transition from the large corporate hubs in the CBD. And frankly, I've always questioned that model for our industry, commercial real estate. The big firms, and they all have these massive hubs for each region. They're Miami, hubbed in downtown Miami or Brickell, and yet the majority of their brokers, if not most of their brokers, have businesses outside of that central business district. So if you're an industrial broker, or if you work the submarkets, why should your offices be all the way in downtown Miami when your business is in Doral or in Medley or Miami Lakes? It doesn't make sense to me. And at Blue Box, we believe more in having regional hubs where our business and clients are located. In fact, where we can be located for our property clients in their offices, in their office buildings, we would like to be. And so I think the industry is going to move to that. And we're hearing that Citigroup's going to have more of their staff work closer to home, basically, in retail branches, and stop having them commute. You know, in a major metropolitan area like New York or Miami, you could be commuting for an hour to hour and a half a day each way. And so think of how much more productivity you can have from employees if they're closer to their home, if not working from home. And so that's some of the changes that we're seeing as companies open up that I think is forthcoming. All right, in the financial tech world, Visa will allow a majority of its workforce to work from home through 2020, looking at bringing employees back to offices on a site-by-site basis. American Express, majority of employees can continue working remotely for the rest of the year. Square, majority of workforce given the option to work from home permanently. It'll be interesting to see who decides to stay home or not. Again, we're in the middle of this great experiment of the corporate world being forced by the government to send workers home and furlough them or keep them at home. And now I think some businesses are saying, hey, this is not so bad. In fact, they're all doing employee surveys. I got a survey from the NBA. I mean, there's surveys going around asking for the pulse of people, where they are and working from home, coming back to the office. My guess is a lot of folks have given the opportunity to say, hey, I would rather work from the home or closer to the home at the very least. And we're seeing this take place. Restaurant retail, McDonald's issued a 59-page guide to reopening dining rooms. They include enforcing social distancing, clean bathrooms every half hour, turning off soda fountains if they're not able to assign an employee to them, and so forth. I was at a 7-Eleven with my son yesterday, picking him up from a camp, and you can get a drink, but you can't do refills. So I guess if that makes you feel better, you're not going to get a virus. I guess the virus does not like refills. I don't get it. Starbucks plans to open 90% of its locations here in June, but most of their stores are going to stay as drive-through and pick-up only. And I just read another article on Starbucks this morning that dealt with Starbucks going to kind of do away with the sit-down areas for some time, and I think that's a mistake. It's going to backfire. Listen, why don't I just buy an espresso machine and brew Starbucks at home instead of going and standing in line outside in 95-degree weather in South Florida for them to bring me my hot coffee. If you're not going to allow us to come inside and mingle and use your Wi-Fi and work or study, Starbucks, that's not a long-term trend that you want to be part of. So, that's part of Americana. That's part of what people enjoy, is getting out, enjoying a good cup of coffee with others in a nice open environment and so forth. And if you remove that, you're removing really your competitive edge in the business. And that's how capitalism works. Someone else is going to jump on that and take your place, Starbucks. So maybe that'll be a good thing. Retail, we won't go into that in specific, but there are more stores opening, phased in and allowing a certain amount of customers to come in and slowly. Amazon, they plan to give an option to work until at least October. Microsoft, option to work until at least October. I'm starting to see some coordination here. Google, option to work for the remainder of 2020. Slack, work from home until September. And then in the travel industry, well, all the airlines pretty much are requiring masks. Some, like Delta Airlines, are capping capacity at 50% in first class, 60% in other classes. American Airlines wear face masks. JetBlue, face masks. Southwest, face masks. I'll be flying soon with my son in Southwest, and we'll have face masks on for the duration of the flight. So there you have it. As the lockdowns ease, here's what some businesses are doing. And I hope it's helpful for you if you're considering opening. Here's what some businesses are doing. And incidentally, if you want any of these articles, if you haven't already, pause the tape, pause the video, go to LinkedIn, look up Blue Box Real Estate, and follow us. All these articles we're pushing out daily, if not hourly, to our followers and subscribers on the website, blueboxre.com, and through LinkedIn. Great ways to keep up with what's happening in the commercial real estate news. And obviously this video, hopefully it's a service to you. Next three, we only have three more to go. This one comes from CoStar. And now we're getting back to more, and I'm going to be mindful to do this, commercial real estate specific deals. So here's a portfolio of Apple leased buildings coming to Silicon Valley that's on the market. If you have any interest, contact us. We know folks in California we can put you in contact with. 6 buildings leased to the giant tech hub have been put up for sale. 6 property portfolio leased entirely to Apple has hit the market for a guidance price of about $90 million. And you say $90 million is not a big number for a portfolio of Apple leased properties, but we're only talking about 136,000 square feet. That's $660 a foot is the guidance price. Now the average price has been 524 a foot. So they're seeking quite a bit more, 25% more, because of the creditworthiness of Apple. You wonder, with Apple having built their, I guess it's called a circle, or their Apple headquarters, what the long-term plan is for this real estate, which involves office, flex, and research. Listen, it's a 27,000 foot building, an 18.5, 22,000, 22,000, 16,000. There are a bunch of little small buildings. If you look at the picture, I mean, they're kind of antiquated looking buildings. So it'd be interesting. It's really a matter of the lease and whether there's termination options and how long Apple plans to keep this little portfolio, if you're willing to buy this. So CBRE, Northern Capital Markets, Institutional Properties is the team to reach out there. So portfolio of Apple buildings hits the market. Next one, let's go all the way across from the left coast to the right coast to Manhattan. And this comes to us, incidentally, that portfolio of office market came to us from CoStar. Manhattan, this comes to us from Connect. Atlanta, of all places, commercial real estate news, covering an article on Manhattan. Manhattan office leasing up in May, down sharply year over year. And the article says, Manhattan office leasing activity moved upward by 5.2% in May and rose by 21.9% from March, when the COVID-19 lockdown essentially put the market on pause. Okay, so that's positive. We're up from March, but year over year we're below. However, May's tally of 1.42 million square feet was down by more than half from May 2019 and 60.4% below 2019's monthly average of 3.58 million square feet. Now, Manhattan, you're just off this chart your scale. 1.42 million in a month of leasing activity, that's probably the entire South Florida market, or certainly Miami market for an entire year. So anyhow, your scale's off the chart. The year-over-year drop-off was especially pronounced in Lower Manhattan, which just saw 130,000 square feet of lease deals in May of this year compared to 920,000 feet a year ago. So even the 1.42 million can be narrowed down to a few key deals. A single deal, 86,000 square feet by Policy Genius at 32 Old Slip, accounted for nearly 2/3 of Lower Manhattan's monthly total. Led by TikTok's commitment of 232,138,000 square feet at the Durst Organization's 151, May saw 6 transactions greater than 50,000 square feet, each across Manhattan, reported Wallach. That compares to 14 such deals in May of 2019. So at least there's activity flow. We in our sector need activity flow. And so several deals signed over 50,000 feet, 1.42 million totaled in May is better than nothing. It's better than where we were in March and April. And so again, maybe signs of life that as things open up, we're going to return to a new normal. Now let's come back to our own market. Now we've been in California and we've been in New York. Let's come down to here. Miami Beach. This comes to us from the Business Journal, South Florida Business Journal. Related Group shifts condo plan to office building in Miami Beach. Now Related Group's been active in our market. They just closed on close to, I want to say, 2.5 to 3.5 acreage in Wynwood for a new development. And so they're very active. And now here we read from the South Florida Business Journal, the Related Group scrapped its plans for a condo project on Terminal Island in Miami Beach and instead submitted a proposal for an office building. Surprise, surprise. Back in the 2006 and 7 residential crisis, just before the Great Recession of 2008, we started seeing signs in 6 and 7 of the bubble popping in residential real estate. And in our own community in Miami, we had 3 residential developers transition from high-rise condo to high-rise office building. 1450 Brickell, 600 Brickell, and what ended up being Wells Fargo Center in downtown Miami. All 3 were originally slated for residential, and there was a flip to commercial as the residential slowed down. Well, when you look at the condo market situation in Miami, it's much the same as it was 14 years ago or so. And there's already a glut of residential on the market in terms of condos, and there's still some on the pipeline and in the works. So here we have maybe the first sign of a new twist, a new change again, where Related Group has made a decision to change their condo plan in Miami Beach, Terminal Island, to office building, where others do likewise. The Miami-based developer, through the affiliate Miami Beach Port LLC, owns 3.71 acres at 120 MacArthur Causeway. Terminal Island is located on the eastbound side of MacArthur Causeway near the U.S. Coast Guard Station. The developer acquired the property for $9.94 million in 2013. Related Group now has new plans. Continuing with the article, One Island Park would have about 160,000 square feet of offices. It would not utilize a neighboring city property. I mean, if you look at the picture, and again, I'll send you this article if you want. The art designer is Arquitectonica. What a beautiful building. It almost looks like a cruise ship. And I'm sure you're going to have beautiful views. It's right on the water. One Island Park would rise 4 stories or 40 feet. It would have 256 parking spaces. There would also be 7 marina slips and an outdoor seating area with a restaurant along the water. It was designed by Arquitectona. Related Group will need approval from both the Planning Board and the Design Review Board. Now, the article states one of the national firms claims there's 9% vacancy for Class A space. Average rate is about 49.22 per square foot. That's a gross number. But I thought what we would do, since we're on the subject of Miami Beach, and one of the things that we like to do at Blue Box, and we put it on pause because of coronavirus, is on Thursdays we've been posting different submarkets throughout South Florida, and we take a look at the stats and give some commentary on it. Well, we're going to crank that up soon, but the stats still don't reflect coronavirus and the shutdown, the pandemic. But let's take a look in general at Miami Beach. So I've got a chart here for you to take a look at on Miami Beach. And this comes from, the data is sourced from CoStar, just like everybody's data. CoStar, the #1 provider of commercial real estate data. Miami Beach, Class A, over 1 million total inventory. Now, total vacancy, 240,000. And you could see numbers as low as 110,000, 130,000 in some cases, which will drive this vacancy down closer to about half, 10 or 11%. But what we've incorporated at Blue Box is we've got Starwood developing a new building, and Starwood will be relocating at the end of next year, at the end of 2021, 119,000 square feet. which is essentially an entire building. So when you input that into this, and that space is already on the market, and tenants needing full floors or multiple floors are already in the market looking. The vacancy factor for Class A space is actually close to 24%. 24%. Now you throw in another 160,000, which is not reflected in these numbers, and that vacancy factor is going to go up to 35, 36%. Now that project has some way to go, and the numbers will be skewed by then, but here it is, Class A. About 24% of actual space that can be leased today, and almost $52 a square foot. Class B, 2.7 million or so. Total inventory, 342,000 feet. Again, this includes shadow space that's on the market, that's coming or will be available soon, and that's 12.5%. For instance, the property that we list in Miami Beach, 420 Lincoln Road, I encourage you to go to our website, send us a note, and get more information. We're happy to give you information, but we have a potential 16,000 foot floor that's coming available later this year. So I've included that in that 342,000. So when you look at space that is currently vacant and coming, it's about 12.5% vacancy for Class B. Average rental rates are $43 a square foot. Again, that's the average. You know, there's a huge sway. You can find spaces from the low 30s. You can find spaces up to 60 and mid 60s a foot in Miami Beach. But that's a little bit of what's happening in Miami Beach. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line was developing their own headquarters of over 345,000 square feet. Starwoods is developing their own headquarters as well in Miami Beach. And so, again, some of this is pre-corona. All indications are we haven't heard that any of these projects have gotten canceled, but there's more Class A space coming. And that's our look at Miami Beach. If you want a full report on the Miami Beach office market, I mean, very detailed. We'll go into what the leasing numbers are, absorption, what's under construction, what's on the market for sale, what have been the past sales, and so forth. We're happy to send that to you. Again, send us a note at info@blueboxre.com. Well, that wraps up today's look at commercial real estate and coronavirus. We like to end each podcast with a reading of God's Word, and we return now to Genesis chapter 1, where we've been covering the days of creation, and we are going to cover day 5 today, and we've covered the first 4 days. And so we've seen God created light and created the heavens. He separated the waters and created the sky. He separated the land and created vegetation and everything green. And then he created the stars and the heavens and to fill the sky, night, the universe. And now he begins to fill in the earth. So day 5, and God said, this is Genesis 1 verse 20, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens." So God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening and there was morning, the 5th day. So there we are. Fish and everything in the sea created on the 5th day. Now, 6 days, monumental. Here we come. Animals are created, and then God makes man and woman. And so we'll cover that on the next one. But again, hope you're enjoying the reading from God's Word. I hope it's encouraging during these times. This is creation. We are living in God's creation. And because we are created by an eternal, good, gracious God, life has purpose. Life has meaning. And we can count and trust on this God who is our creator. And the Bible continues to unfold who this God is, as well as who we are. And again, I encourage you, grab a Bible, start reading it, especially if you have time on your hands or working from home. Thank you for tuning in once again to Coronavirus and Commercial Real Estate. Again, I encourage you, if you want to learn more about commercial real estate, we've got resources available for you. We've got blogs, we've got podcasts. We want to be your commercial real estate voice in South Florida so you can focus on your business. I'm George Morales of Blue Box Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in. Good day.